All right, I've been home for exactly a week. I had 2 misfires. I could have worked in Idaho last week for 5 days, but I didn't have transmission capability. So I went to a different freelancer, and then I got a call to work in Eagle Pass Monday, Tuesday, which is tomorrow, Sunday right now. That was on Friday afternoon. No transmission, couldn't do that one either. And then Saturday morning, this came in at about 9 a.m. Let the bosses know. I now have this Harbor Freight case I just bought yesterday. I am now capable to go live, low latency, 1 second delay, anywhere in the US that's got 5G and 4G LTE. Bonded for 4 SIMs, 4 modems. So I've powered this up, but I have not tested it. I'm gonna call Feeds in a few minutes. Gotta get my camera set up, make sure it works. And then I have 2.5 hours to kit all my stuff up and fly to New York City. And I'm going lean. I'm not going to be doing live shots. I'm just bumps and B-roll in theory. Ran out of time, had to race to the airport. I put the request in with LiveU to link my transmitter to the station's receiver. That took a little bit. They got that configured. So here I am waiting for my plane at the gate, running the very first test. Picture and sound all went well. And then I carried on the camera, the LiveU, and my roller with my laptop, change of clothes, and a bunch of gold mount batteries. Max 8 planes up in the air again. Turns out the best flight to LaGuardia from San Antonio was Southwest. I still had a layover up in, I think I went to Houston on the way up and Dallas on the way back. There are so many Samsonite and Pelican bags and baggage claim, which is why I have all of mine lettered up in orange logo tape. You can see here I run it all the way around every direction of the case, so no matter what orientation, I can spot my cases quickly. Rolling all 4 cases with one hand, shooting with the other. The case handles are hitched together with cargo straps. All right, Nueva York, it's 0-100 hours 45. I had 1 meal yesterday. That was a breakfast with my son. There's a pizza place on the corner. I'm gonna go try to get my first slice of New York pizza in 3 years. Look at that view. Terrible white balance, but yeah, that's pretty good. It's been 3 years since I've been in Manhattan. My friends that are native Californians, Southern Californians, think they have edible pizza in SoCal, and that's just not the case. 5:40, I didn't sleep much, maybe 2.5 hours. Running lean, I wish it was leaner. Hand carrying the camera, I moved the shoulder strap over the camera tripod. I got 7 batteries, LiveU, and some audio. Bump shot for the morning news. First up, 0600 Central. It's going to be the, I guess you call this the General Aviation Terminal at LaGuardia, Terminal A, the Marine Terminal. The goal here is to get the Trump motorcade or the aircraft taxiing, which I think is going to be at the gate over there. Talking with the local driver here. We got another network set up. They're doing a stand-up right over here. Not sure who it is. But I found out from them there's no coffee over here. Problems. Whenever I buy a new piece of equipment that's expensive, it's usually because I missed a couple of bookings by not having it. I get it and then it'll sit for months. Well, this LiveU FedExed overnight from New Jersey to my house in Texas, and less than 24 hours later, I'm back up in New York transmitting with it for the first time. I gave up a pretty chill life, coastal Southern California, weekends in Catalina Island, for a gas station breakfast in Queens. Oh, the usual circus, security, law enforcement, Port Authority. The media are just a nuisance. I get it. Conflicting info. Finally got info from the Public Information Office that this parking lot, Terminal A, that I can set up in this area in the designated press area, but they have not determined the designated press area. But all I want is a B-roll shot of, I'd like to be over there by the gate on that public sidewalk, shooting the aircraft landing and braking, and then hopefully the motorcade exiting right there. But security at the gate guard shack right there shut me down.
President Trump has left where he currently lives in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. People cheering him.
It's been a few weeks since this assignment, but I think that was ABC News, and they were shooting on an FX9, same as me, and I believe it was the same kit lens, Sony 28 to 135. One interesting thing, it always surprises me when I go up north again, bright sunny day, blue sky. The light levels are quite a bit less than Texas and Southern California. In this case, they're running two 60Xs. I don't know what intensity they were set at, but it was sufficient punch to match a sunlit background. So you notice there on the right in the distance is the Sony EX1, that's Newsmax, and then I think the next 2/3 inch camera next to me in Gcam is from the New York Fox affiliate. Day one done. Didn't really have a proper meal today. It was like energy bars and snacks from the gas station. So I'm going to do a little bit of bookkeeping. I have a production coming up in California where we're running it through me. I'm the production company. Been doing payroll and equipment rentals. I won't be at the shoot. It's a producer I've worked with for many years, his client, and I think Nick is shooting it, which is fantastic. Happy for Nick. I'm not sure how many batteries I went through. I think 4, but tomorrow I'm doing the same thing, but I don't have morning news bump shots. I'm just getting B-roll of the airport and the presidential motorcade, the Trump motorcade, returning back to the airport to depart back to Florida. This case has got like one thing too many in it. Here, I'll show you what I got in here. Spent a bit of time trying to get organized, but here was my meals today. iPhone charging cable, because I had to break down my gear and carry it with me to the restroom every time I had to pee because I was working solo. I didn't look at that. That's all I had for water today, plus 1 coffee and 1 like juice thing from the gas station. Not good. I'm gonna hydrate up right now. This is the LiveU pack. I need to get a nice case, smaller, like a sleeve. I think I'm gonna make one out of fiberglass. Make my own sleeve to protect this. I was talking to the local Fox photographer who was next to me for a bit, New York, Channel 5, and he's got the same unit. And he said he unplugs these 2 USB ports to these 2 external modems every time he cases the unit out of fear of them getting broken. And yeah, I feel the same way. That's sound advice. So I think I'm going to make like a fiberglass sleeve for this. That's super low profile, just to slip it in, that's rigid on all sides for when it gets thrown in a bigger case. I bought this umbrella at Home Depot. I've never opened it, and I put a hacksaw to it and I cut the handle off and a little bit off the tip so that it'll fit. I still have to diagonal it. $9 cup of tea and a $20 bowl of ramen, scallion pancake thing. Not impressed. When I got on the plane, my instructions were stay at a hotel near Trump Tower. You're probably going to be over there for a couple of days as an additional camera angle. I imagine they were going to do some like color and analysis or maybe anchor down there on the sidewalk. So I want to just circle the block here, get a little feel for the media footprint. It's crazy. When I started in production, I was still in high school, but in the early 90s, all the news rigs were cargo vans like this microwave Ford Transit. And now, looks like just about all the networks are running like a suburban type SUV, and it's all obviously cellular, and you get some of the KU digital uplink sat dishes, auto positioning dishes on SUVs. Really only are seeing the old microwave trucks now with the local stations. One of my friends from high school that was a couple of years ahead of me got his journalism degree and then landed the director's seat at a cable news channel in operations. And he recommended to me, because he knew I wanted to go freelance, to consider going with a sat truck and just be on call and listed with all of the networks to go out and cover breaking news. Back then, this would have been like mid 90s, late 90s. But I knew a few people that did that and did really well. There's still some of that out there, but the cellular packs have pretty much changed all of that. You know, you don't get an engineer in a truck. Now it's one photographer running the transmission, the camera, the sound, and quite often doing all the editing. So here's all the different networks set up and in position. I was kind of scoping out all the different cameras. I think on the right here, that might be an FX6. I see a newer panel coming up. There are a couple of Blackmagic cameras doing live TV. There's an iPhone on a tripod and a couple of ENG cams. And here's, I always know it's CNN now because they seem to be the only ones running these Cream Source Micro, which I keep eyeing. I think I'm going to buy a couple of those for travel, specifically for news. All the other networks are running the 6X Astras, which can't go wrong with those things in broadcast. It's what everyone expects. They work great. They get enough punch for sun. Here is staging or ladders for stills people. Looks like they're all corralled together in one area. All the print publications. And then looks like some smaller, like 1/3 inch sensor video cams. And coming up here, there's a young lady with an Easy Rig. And I think she was running an FS7. Same kit lens. Is that the 18-110 Sony? And then you'll see here News Nation's right at the end, right on the corner of the block. Looks like they got the best spot. I was chatting with one of the producers who said that, you know, they've obviously been there for a couple of weeks and you have hired security to keep watch overnight to hold your spot. Day 2 at the airport for President Trump's departure post-arraignment. Such an uninspiring shot, but this is the approved spot for media. I'm an hour early. I have to have a picture up at 1000 local or 0900 central. 3 sets of 40 push-ups. That's my goal now. I try to do it 3 times a week when I'm standing around and on these travel assignments when I don't have an opportunity to go to the gym or the hotel gym. Is just so terrible. I alternate this with squats and lunges. Cheating here, I'm not getting low enough. I realize now I got the video. It's because of the brim of my hat. So I'm going to do better on my next set, but working on the decline pushes today. It's a great icebreaker too, out there waiting around, doing push-ups, a bunch of people cheering me on, airport staff. I had one gentleman come out of this office building behind me, and he was, I want to say, early 60s. And he said, you know, after COVID, he put on a bunch of weight and just wasn't feeling healthy. And he got a gym membership and started going back, but in the last week or so, he sort of fell off the wagon. And that seeing me out here the day prior doing push-ups motivated him to go to the gym that night. And he saw me out here again today and just came over and said he wanted to shake my hand and thank me for getting him remotivated to stay fit and be able to work for a few more years. Woo. NBC4, New York station, John, the photographer. Nice guy, we've been chatting, he's watching my gear so I can run to the restroom here at the terminal. It's a bit of a hike. Beautiful day today, it's warmer. I'm camped out here. I got the jacket on trying to keep the sun off my neck. My nose is so smoked. My phone's blowing up here with messages. The struggle is real. When you wonder when your next meal is going to be and the joy of being able to run to the restroom with running water, life is good. I didn't get much. I don't think I got a shot of all of the media that appeared here yesterday. I was too busy shooting. But we floated left here because we got hosed by the held traffic. in this direction at the traffic light, and it was buses right at the front of the line blocking our view, so we all scurried over to this pad, but we're not authorized to be over there. Newsmax photographer from the Washington Bureau. He's rocking the Ursa broadcast cam, 2/3 inch E&G zoom lens. I was debating picking one of those up for freelance news. It's such a struggle with the big sensor camera on all the B-roll and stakeout jobs like this. Like, I need that 18 or 20:1 zoom ratio. And then here's a look at the two most popular LiveU units at the moment. I've got the 300S. That's a LiveU 600 in the background. I was agonizing between these two and which one to buy. They're both the newer HVEC codec, which is H.265. So they don't require as many modems because the bitrate's 1/2 of H.264. So you basically at 3.6K, I think it's like 3200 kilobits or some bonded overhead there, but you get the same image quality as the older units that run H.264 at 6 megabit. We were all a little thrown and confused by all the helicopters overhead. Well, Trump Force One was taxiing, with a sitting president. Whenever they fly in or out, all the airspace is closed. But in this case, former president, I guess they left the airspace open. So you had all this incredible aerial footage, which meant I don't think they used my shot much because, the stuff from the air just looked awesome. From my limited knowledge here, the LiveU 600's benefits are it's 6 modems versus 4, and it's got multiple comms channels and audio channels with talkback, so you can do IFB, PL, like RTS headsets for cam ops, and then it'll send a video feed in both directions so you can get a return back so that your talent can see whoever's on the other side, kind of like a Zoom call, but with 1 second latency. And then it also in broadcast, that is often the return becomes the teleprompter feed. Now, the big benefit to the 300 and ultimately why I went with it is for this right here. I can be a wandering one-man band. It's a manageable little shoulder strap versus the big bulky backpack. It's got less power consumption, but it's kind of a bummer not having the video return. And the comms thing's not really an issue, not having all those audio channels. It does have one audio return, which you can use for IFB, but so far, I've only used this for a couple of assignments so far, and in every case, everyone's running cell phones now for all the communications. I dial in on a bridge with a Bluetooth headset off my iPhone, so I can hear the producers and the show director, and then the talent uses their personal iPhone to a IFB-style surveillance earpiece, so they can hear their fold back. So the three majors for bonded cellular transmission are LiveU, TVU, and DiGiorno. Majority of my experience past maybe 10 years has been on TVU networks, and I got all the pricing and info from TVU initially, and I wanted to go with them. They actually have a more attractive freelancer pricing model. You basically buy a block of data, and it's good for 12 months, so it rolls over month to month, where LiveU is use it or lose it every month. But chatting with a bunch of producers from different stations and freelancers, the consensus was everybody at this point can accept LiveU, but only some stations have receivers for TVU. So on foot with my gear, repositioning over to the courthouse. All sides of the building have dense media set up. Oh, all the sat trucks are over here. So this must be the clean shot to the bird. Yeah, definitely. No building obstructions. Wow. Sorry, I'm walking, carrying gear. And I have never seen so much media covering a single event, and I kept hearing that over and over from everyone else in the press. Just the quantity of sat trucks parked on sidewalks was staggering. Blocks and blocks of trucks and just cameras lining all the sidewalks. Just unbelievable. What a circus. Jumping ahead 2.5 weeks, I'm narrating and editing this video from a hotel room on the road. When I got back from New York, I had 8 days off until my next booking, and I've been going pretty much, nonstop since then with a bunch of travel. All driving though, fortunately, no airline. Doing all that walking. It was nice to get back up there. Usually get up there a couple times a year for projects. And yeah, for my first one since the first week of March 2020. 0400 heading back to the airport. My last look at the East River. Here is my big rant on why I hate carrying on a camera. It means I have to put my battery roller under the seat, which means my feet are stuck in a fixed position for the flight. This freaking destroys my knees. I've got some arthritis, inflammatory, rheumatoid style, and it's like paralyzing. My joints lock up. It's awful. So only check bags for me from here on out. I'll shoot it on my iPhone if the damn cases don't show up. Here's a look at the cargo straps. These things are great. I bought these on Amazon, much better than the dog leashes. I cut them to length, but they're also quite a bit longer, so I can vary them when I have different size cases.